Welcome, everyone, to What the Force. I'm Marie-Claire Gould, and today we have an exciting topic. We're going to be talking about Jung and Star Wars, but more specifically, REYLO and Alchemical Union. And joining me for this discussion is the author of Jung and Star Wars, a contemporary mythology, Steve Ellerhoff. Welcome.
Thank you, Marie-Claire. It's so good to be here.
It was funny because we kind of found each other. Although I'd seen your book come across my screen a little bit, we found each other because of the news of the hunt for Ben Solo. And I mean, we got to get it off our chest. Where were you when you heard this news?
Oh my gosh! So you actually saved my hide because on a day of travel, because I was traveling. I was traveling that day, and I never travel. So I had been in the Washington D.C. area, visiting some friends, but also did the No Kings thing 2.0. And then I was flying back to Oregon, and I made the first jump to San Francisco, landed in San Francisco, and the news was sort of exploding on the phone. And then you had, what? I was like, what has happened since I was last on firm ground? And then you dropped this episode right then. And I was like, oh, download. I was like, get that. I'm listening to this when I'm flying to Eugene next. And so then I listened to that first episode you did. And I was riding through the air, hopping up to Eugene, listening to you talk about it. I was just like, oh, this is so good.
It's interesting because planes themselves are liminal spaces because you can't show really excitement. You have to just kind of stay in your seat and experience things. There you are, freaking out on a plane.
Freaking out, super excited, and listening to you freaking out. It was great because it sort of released some of that energy that I was feeling just myself. And I was like, oh, this is a thing to be excited about. Okay, good. This is fascinating. This news.
Yeah. I decided to release that episode because I saw a lot of REYLOs spinning and freaking out and basically doom scrolling / doom posting. Oh no, we lost our chance. And I'm like, no. You don't understand. We knew nothing about this. That means that this is something that's been baking and in people's creative hearts for a while. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah. It exists.
It exists.
Yeah,
and now it truthfully does exist in people's psyches. Because again, from a communications perspective, there is no difference between reading a fan fiction of a property and actually experiencing it as part of the canon.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Any attempt to, and this is in my book, I completely agree with you. Anytime you try to fence in a mythology, it's going to jump over that fence.
Yeah.
It's going to go, yeah, sorry. This is bigger than that.
And we see that with the $1 billion REYLO publishing industry. Basically, they have said, well, that's a nice fence that you've built. We're going to build our own playground on the other side of that fence, which started from fan fiction and is now getting a full-on made movie, The Love Hypothesis, which was one of the first major publications from a REYLO fan fiction. It's modern day. It's set in a university setting, but
oh wow,
it's going to be released in 2026. So
wow.
If it comes out before Mandalorian and Grogu, it means that a REYLO fan fiction has been made into a movie before Star Wars has released another movie.
Yeah, wow. That's really fascinating. And it just speaks to how alive the mythology is,
It is. And the archetypes themselves are living with us. They are in our minds and they are important. And so that's why we're going to dig into this in a little bit, because I think people misunderstand the archetypes. Why did Luke leave and go into exile? Why did Obi-Wan go into exile? Why did Yoda go into exile? Well, they go into exile because it's archetypical. It is a thing. When they cannot deal with their own shadow, they cannot deal with their own darkness, they have to go and sit in the darkness for a while because they're stuck. They're literally archetypically stuck in the underworld or in their own psychology or in their own subconscious. They can't leave. You are a prisoner of your own shadow.
Yeah, something has to be developed. There's work to be done,
There's
right?
work to be done.
And they've got to do that work.
Yeah. Yeah. So people who are watching these things sometimes get caught up in either the tropiness of it or like it's been done before, but forgetting that again, this is a contemporary mythology.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's jogging some things up to where we are. And Star Wars is really fun. Thinking about Star Wars as a contemporary mythology is a lot of fun too, because you can historicize it in our time.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's great to go back and read ancient texts and myths, and even not ancient texts and myths. That's great from other times, other cultures and all that. But it's also great to have one of our time in our time.
Living and breathing.
Yeah.
Now
absolutely.
and growing. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about your book briefly, just to make sure that people know where to get it, what to do, what is it all about, why did you write it, all of that.
Oh yeah, thank you. Well, so it's Jung and Star Wars contemporary mythology. It's published by Routledge. They have done a lot in terms of publishing Jungian books, especially over the last 20 years. It goes back farther than that, but they've really brought forth a line of Jungian thought that is relevant and evolving. That's kind of what is most exciting to me about what they do. Yeah, they bring in lots of different perspectives, and I'm a pluralist myself. I don't believe in a final reading of anything. That was kind of drilled out of me when I was doing my PhD or before that, really. But yeah, I'm not a Jungian analyst. I'm not a psychologist. I'm a literary critic and scholar. So my degree is in English. But yeah, I focused in that work on Jungian thought as it applies to literature. And then after my degree, I directed my attention to my first love of storytelling, which is Star Wars. So that's where the book came from. And it's available all kinds of places online, and yeah, I hopefully people can get it for like an affordable price.
I'm hoping it starts to be available at libraries because like I know that it would be picked up by a lot of REYLOs and a lot of people who are interested in this show in general. It is a solid read, and it breaks down the concepts in ways that I'm like, yeah, all the time.
Oh, it's so good to hear you say that. Oh, it's like you're the person I want to hear that from. So thank you.
Oh,
it's
great. It's great.
I just got a bucket list item crossed off my list 2 days ago. Kirkus Reviews is this big review place that they review books across all stripes and stuff. And I've always wanted to get a starred review from Kirkus. It's like coveted by authors, And 2 days ago, I got an email and they said, your book is reviewed. You can take a look at it. And they gave my book a star review. So that was like a bucket list for my life. I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what I've always wanted. So I'm excited. I'm so happy that, that you're reacting to it the way you are and other people are finding interest in it. Writing a book is a long, lonely process. And then at the end of it, you go, hey guys, you want to look at my book? You hope somebody does, but yeah, the interest has been really great. And yes, I would say, I'm glad you bring up libraries. I would say if you have access to a college library, or have a friend who does, have them hook you up.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. My mom was a librarian, so I'm always plugging libraries.
There you go.
It's one of the most anti-fascist things we still have as an institution in our world, and we need to support it ongoing.
Absolutely.
The bookstore, yes, absolutely, but also the library, the physical bookstore.
Yeah, physical. Yeah. I'm a bookseller. I'm a worker owner at Tsunami Books, a little indie bookstore here in Eugene. So, and actually, we just got this yesterday. No, not yesterday. A couple days ago. This book,
wow!
Antifa, the Anti-Fascist Handbook by Mark Bray.
Nice.
Great book. Yeah, I just brought that home. So, yeah, libraries, bookstores, I've got FDR's a poster from World War II of book burning.
Oh, jeez.
Just like on the wall facing me where I work here. And a quote from Roosevelt saying, books cannot be killed by fire. And so, yeah, books.
Read. Yeah, and that's like so much of my podcast is reading ideas, thinking about them, applying kind of my own lens to it, determining if I'm like a partial agreeer or like, is this something that I really want to fit into my own framework about how I talk about stuff? Because like I can read a lot of stuff on the internet and sometimes I'm like, oh man, it's not great stuff out there sometimes because, and I think that's where like Jung to me is such a nice lens to put Star Wars into because he speaks from this very psychological lens. And I like reading feminist Jungians, so Maureen Murdoch and Clarissa Pinkola Estes. I like reading, of course, Marie Louise von Franz.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like there's the archetypes, yes, but also the symbolism that follows that more speaks to my psyche specifically. And I started this podcast to completely understand why from a young age I've completely been into Star Wars and why when we have a movie like The Last Jedi come out, every woman I spoke to said, oh, that's really interesting. I had really interesting dreams the next night. It really spoke to me. And then we had this entire group of people on the internet that reacted in this very, I would say, psychologically interesting way, right? Like
you're being very gracious.
Well, like they had almost like a revulsion to some of the ideas, and I think it has to do with how present the feminine symbolism, especially, is in The Last Jedi, and how much their shadows could not take it.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah.
And also this guy, Robert Bly.
Oh, yeah.
The little book on the human shadow. He's also a fave.
Yeah. No, I've always, and I'm a big fan of the show. I when I was writing my book, the only Star Wars podcast I listened to was Star Wars Minute.
Oh my gosh.
And because I was afraid, I didn't want to rip anybody off, anybody's ideas. I didn't want to tread on any toes. But as soon as that book was done, I was like, okay, I'm going to start listening. And so I quickly found yours. And that has come across consistently across the episode. I haven't listened to, don't worry, I haven't listened to all the episodes. Mm-hmm.
It's okay. There's a lot of them.
I know. Yeah, that's
when somebody does tell me they're listening from my entire backlog. I'm like, why?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, don't worry about that. That hasn't happened. But what has consistently come across is that, yeah, you are a discerning reader, and you are tracking on these things and putting things together in ways that other people are not, which is really exciting.
Oh, thank you.
And bringing in bell hooks and all that is just
that's
awesome.
My new love. Yeah.
When you were all bringing in the bell hooks, I was like, oh yes, this is so good.
Well, we need a framework for men to come back from being broken. And that is, I think she has the best lens.
Yeah. Yeah,
because she says specifically, integrity is a heroic journey. And I agree.
Yeah,
living
absolutely.
with integrity is a heroic journey, i.e., what does balance look like in masculinity?
Yeah.
Fun.
These are questions we need to ask and think about and grapple with because we live in a time where the opposite of integrity is running some really big institutions in the world, and that's frightening. So mythology and psychology and putting these things together this kind of thought and talking about it like you are, this is constructive, and this is a way through it, and hopefully to something better, something, let's take some more steps forward. I'm tired of these steps backward.
Yeah, it's it's hard. I really do struggle with our largest mythopoeia, modern mythopoeia, being owned by a corporation.
Yeah, that's an interesting. That's an interesting issue, isn't it?
But we see it if there is enough creatives who are allowed to create, we will see the archetypes in this story structure and the conceptual psychological problems being worked out in other media, like K-pop Demon Hunter.
Yeah. Yep, absolutely.
It'll pop up. It has no choice. It is the collective unconscious speaking to the people.
Yeah, it's got to come out. And the artists, we're so blessed to have artists. What they need is a chance to make their art, and
it feels like Lucasfilm is like saying, let us just make art and we'll make you money. Yeah. And we'll make art.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting? Sorry. I'm really excited to talk to somebody who we literally met just as we were logging on this call. And like, it just feels so weird to be like, you get it. You get it.
Yeah, I know. No, it's really, it's great. It's an exciting time in general. I thought Ben Solo was dead.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can talk about that.
Oh my God.
I thought he was dead. And
but dying gods, they only resurrect when you genuinely think that they're dead.
Yeah, this is true. Right. And that's why when this hunt for Ben Solo in your podcast, I think part of what was like going off in my head was I was sort of like palm to my own forehead.
But you specifically do say that in the book. I do want to say that. Like you say, Ben Solo is dead. But you think about dead. Like fiction. Let's talk about Dickens. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Like Marley was dead. But he's not. But
he's not. He comes back.
But he's not, right?
I do. Yeah, he's not. And where I anticipated maybe things going was Ben's ghost coming back. I mean, it's the most obvious sort of.
Yeah, it is the easiest knee-jerk thing to do.
Sort of. Yeah. But I thought there'll be this ongoing, if we see Rey again, we'll see him again, but he'll be. However, it's so much more exciting if he comes back.
And it's healing, because then it actually is fairy tale, mythic. It is actually leaning into things that are psychologically healing. Miraculous things happening in fiction is actually healing psychologically.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it can be. It can be. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, let's dig into this, because I feel like we're just going to just chat about
that's great.
like the universe and everything.
Life and stuff.
Life and how we feel about everything. Okay, so why Jung for you? I can tell you why Jung for me.
Why Jung for me? I got into Jung because of Joseph Campbell. Mm-hmm. I inhaled his work.
I gotta ask you, how deep have you read into Campbell?
I read everything that was published by 2005.
Okay, so you've read Goddesses?
Well, and that came out later. Yeah. Yes. I read Goddesses.
Okay, good.
And then some of the stuff since then. I haven't read all of the Arthurian one.
Yeah. I need to read that too.
Yeah, and I think his short fiction. I have his. They published some of his unpublished works of fiction, which is pretty interesting. So I haven't read that, but up to in his lifetime, everything that he put out, and Goddesses, and then all of the available lectures, audio and video. So I like inhale. I just, kind of did that. And then that took me to Jung after that.
Yeah, because Campbell uses Jung as his concept of how the journey into the self or into the underworld connects to the psychological elements of the person.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So it's
yeah.
these are not different things. They're actually doing the same thing, but with different language.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. Yeah. And the body as well.
Yeah. And the body. That
which is
you are not disconnected from your body, which modern science is proving more and more, like how much your gut bacteria actually influences how you think, and that you're not actually just like a flesh mech driving around your little like flesh mech, right? No, it's actually everything in your body. And so if you have inflammation somewhere in your body, it's actually going to be influencing how you think about the world.
Yeah. What? Right. And yet you've got people like Campbell and Jung and other, who have been saying this all along.
Yeah. And like, talking about these things from that's why like philosophy, like my father had a doctorate in philosophy. He was a Hume scholar.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And he also was really into Hegel. So like, it's a very different lens than necessarily this, but the idea that like we needed these people to be thinking about concepts is so important. Yeah. Even from like this, how do we think about the world when it comes to our imagination, which is effectively what is being spoken to. Ursula K. Le Guin talks about how dreams speak to us in the language of the night. And that is exactly what is happening when we talk about these sort of images and archetypes and symbols that sort of bubble up from our unconscious, and then collectively they bubble up in our pop culture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the playground of mythology, collectively, anyway.
Collectively. And it's like all of us are coming to the table to say, this is why this is important to us.
Yeah. And it also feeds us individually then as well. It kind of feeds back in as we interact with the mythology. And that's what I think what you were speaking about before, the healing power of story. It is a connection back to all of this. It's like a circuit. It goes out, it comes back in. And
before The Rise of Skywalker came out, I did an episode on the Theater of War, which specifically Adam Driver had participated in some of the events, because I was like, this is so interesting. And the Theater of War, the book, is all about how in ancient Greece, the theater was next to the hospital.
Oh, right.
And the idea that, and this was like just before COVID came out. And then during COVID, they put on tons of free shows, especially for nurses and people who are first-line workers, to basically and they specifically did ones that involved plagues, and they did these ideas because these concepts never grow old. They never grow old. And they really did dig deep into helping people heal through the power of story and shared experience of that story. And that's why Star Wars, as much as I feel like a crazy person talking about it to my coworkers, is really, really, really important to our society.
Yeah.
It is the biggest story that has lasted the longest that we have.
Yeah. We're coming up on 50 years here.
Yeah.
There's so many generations in there. And that's so fascinating about the theater being next to the hospital. I didn't know that. I love that.
You should read
Theater War.
Listen to it. It's narrated by Adam Driver, I think.
Well, then that'll be an easy listen then, Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
You will cry probably because it's very personal, and I highly recommend it.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. I think, the healing storytelling, it can also, these myths, they can also help us deal with the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves as well. And that's a very Jungian, that's a Jungian focus, I would say. There's a therapeutic basis in Jungian thought. That's where it starts, is this idea of helping people who are going through tough stuff. and whatever it is. And so much of that they focus on is, what is your personal myth? What's the story that you're living with about your life? Is the story fitting your life, or does that story need to be revised because the shape of your life is actually different than the story you're trying to live by? That's a big part of Jungian thought and communication just to the public. Star Wars is great because we get all these characters who are going through all kinds of crises and at different levels, personal, collective. And I mean, there's these massive wars going on. That's an awful time anyway. So yeah, there's just this basis of trying to recalibrate, and from a Jungian perspective, they don't shy away from the tough stuff. Their focus is not being good. Their focus is becoming whole and being able to hold what you're living.
Yeah.
And not
live with yourself. Live with yourself and not harm others.
Yeah.
In what has happened to you. Right.
And some people looking from the outside, a common criticism is that, well, that sounds narcissistic. That's really self-centered. And they say, no, it's take care of your own, clean up your own backyard. And, in doing so, you're going to be interacting with others in much better ways.
There was a Tibetan monk has this clip, and I forget who it was, but he said, if you can do one thing to help the world, it's to take care of your own problems, because then you won't be causing problems for others.
Yeah.
and then if you have energy, help others. If you have energy after that, do that. Right?
Yeah.
The best thing we can do is honestly not cause problems for other people.
Totally. And it's not a one and done. This is something we have to try from a Jungian perspective, and my own perspective. It's something we got to work on every day.
Every day. Yeah. And that's like the thing. Like I call out these things in Star Wars, and I'm like, God, I've talked for over 300 episodes on Star Wars. And I'm like, people might just tune in for one episode. So it's really hard for me to be like, have I actually said this in this episode, or do I refer back to a previous episode? I have trouble because now it's an entire body of work explaining things, both from Jung, from Campbell, from, these, feminine thinkers as well, to add some more. Now bell hooks I'm adding in there a lot more of, right? So it's how do you go back and like listen to my whole repertoire and actually get what I'm trying to say? Well, you can't live me. All you can do is actually take this little piece and start to explore your own life.
Yeah. Well, and I think what one of the things you've accomplished here is that you're modeling a healthy way of doing it. I mean, that's great.
It was all entirely focused on trying to figure out why it worked for me.
Well, sure. And that's what I did with my book. My book, I wrote it across 10 years, and I was working on some other things. Yeah. It was a 10-year project. So, and there were certain things I was like, I'm not the person yet I need to be to figure this out. As I was working on a chapter, like
that makes me feel better because I'm working on a Star Wars book, and I'm like, I'm lost.
Well, good. Because then, you're like, well, I'm going to start looking to these other people. And this is where that discernment comes in reading and researching and all that. And, you go looking and trying to find, what can I find? What's out there? What links up with what I think is there, but I'm not quite sure yet. And then through that learning, you can find it. Then you can bring it back, hopefully, to other people and say, hey, check this out. What do you think? I'm
going to use a Campbell concept. So the hero's journey is fundamentally going into yourself from a Jungian lens, going into yourself, finding the secret wisdom that lives in the darkness, right? That's the treasure that is underneath. So Campbell talks about it being like the blood of the dragon from a Siegfried perspective, killing the dragon, or, in a more feminine or spiritual journey lens, facing the dark mother or the dark father, the person who is your archetypical darkness, and then realizing that you're not actually separate from that person, that you are actually that person, and then learning that and taking that wisdom and also back that shadow aspect of yourself, because that shadow aspect is actually the energy that you have taken off of yourself, mutilated yourself, or separated from yourself. You take it back into yourself, you eat your shadow, or you become one with it in an alchemical union.
Yeah, right.
And
right.
then you're able to return to the normal world and deliver that knowledge to other people, that secret, that elixir, as Campbell talks about it. This podcast is my own hero's journey, working through my own psychology through the lens of Star Wars.
There you go. That's great. It wouldn't be what it is if you weren't doing the work. It is the work.
It is the work.
You know? Yeah. And that's exciting.
It's helped me through some of the hardest times of my life because I had the language to talk about it to myself.
Yeah. There it is. There it is. Yeah. The Jungians love talking about the wounded healer. It's a popular.
There's a lot of jokes out there that Reylos are just mentally unwell women.
Oh right. Oh god.
There's an army of mentally unwell women out there, but in truth, everyone is unwell.
Well, I was just going to say, it makes me think of something Jung said, which is, show me a healthy man and I'll cure him for you.
Yeah. So,
somebody who thinks he's like, hey,
don't throw rocks in glass houses, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody is together. Everyone is apart.
No. And yeah, exactly. We're all in this thing together, whatever it is. That was Kurt Vonnegut's son said that to him once. We're all in this thing together, whatever it is. I think we're here to help each other through it. So
I got off the rails. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay.
Any more
it's
about
good.
Jung and why him for you?
Yeah, why him? Well, why Jung and Star Wars? I think it is that Campbell connection makes sense. And when I first started writing the book, the big question for me was what happens because we know the Campbell George Lucas connection. Or we thought we did. There's some things I want to talk about briefly, if I may.
Yeah, of course. Grab my coffee.
But I was like,
what if
we
sip the tea?
You got your we're gonna I'm about to spill it. So what happens if we take Campbell out and just leapfrog to Jung? Because Campbell to Jung to Campbell, Campbell to Lucas. What about Jung to Lucas? Or Jung to Star Wars. Let's not just reduce all of Star Wars to George Lucas. I don't want to give that impression. Interesting thing about Jung and Campbell is that they met. They were connected through Heinrich Zimmer, who Campbell credited as being, he said he didn't have a guru, but if he had to say he had a guru, it was Heinrich Zimmer, this German Indologist who and symbologist as well, who fled Nazi Germany for the United States and was living in New York City and lecturing. Campbell went and attended a bunch of his lectures, became good friends, and then Zimmer died of pneumonia or something, quite young. I think he was in his 50s. But Campbell then was tasked with editing Zimmer's works in English into books, which came out just in the years before Hero of the Thousand Faces. You can kind of read those. If you read those Zimmer books, you see Campbell all over them. And he was working from Zimmer's notes. So it's very much Campbell writing a book from someone else's notes. And so it's kind of like ghostwriter, Joseph Campbell. He's there.
Yeah, he's there.
So King and the Corpse is one of my favorite books. Great book. So at the same time, the other person tasked with editing Zimmer's works in German was Carl Jung. And so Jung personally edited Zimmer's German lectures, and then these get published in Europe and the States. And Campbell and Jung meet up. They have tea at Bollingen, the tower that Jung built with his bare hands. That's sort of the myth, but he had people working on it with him.
He was a weird dude sometimes. Like Red Book is a weird experience.
Oh yeah. Red Book is a trip.
Yeah.
So that connection is very strong. Now, fast forward, George Lucas probably first encounters Hero of 1,000 Faces at junior college in Modesto. And the influence on him is hard to trace down very specifically, but there is a very specific time when they met, George and Campbell, and it was at a point of crisis for George Lucas, and it was
during his divorce and separation. Yeah.
It was May 1983. And here's just something interesting that I wanted to set the record straight, because there are some places where there are some inconsistencies in published matter about this meeting. It took place at the Palace of Fine Arts in San Francisco at a symposium called The Inner Reaches of Outer Space. And this was a big to-do. Your pal Ursula Le Guin was there.
Of course.
Frank Herbert was there.
Oh, nice.
Rusty Schweikert, the astronaut, was there. And the immoderator of the symposium, was James Hillman.
Okay, of course.
The archetypal psychologist.
Yeah.
Who he himself had run the Jung Institute briefly until he had to leave it in disgrace. And then he went on to found archetypal psychology.
And the mythopoetic men's movement.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
With Bly.
Yeah, with Bly.
Yeah. And
so we go back and forth between Jung and this men's desire to heal themselves. Movement.
Yeah. This is
like it's been co-opted and it's been transformed, but like fundamentally it came from a place of trying to be like, hey men, we be broken. Let's try and do this.
Yeah. That's it. That's a really good point. This is not a new idea. It's people of past generations were worried about it. And so
the echoes are still echoing of this problem.
Yeah. I mean, and the sirens are going off.
Yeah.
So this symposium happens, and it's also organized by Barbara McClintock, who was a Jungian analyst in the Bay Area. So this symposium happens. It's May 1983. Supposedly it's George's birthday, and he goes to meet Campbell. Campbell has no interest in meeting him, and they've sat George down to lunch with Campbell, and Hillman is at the end of the table. And Campbell's only interested in talking to Hillman, and he has actually turned his chair away from George Lucas.
He was kind of a hard person to get along with personally.
Yeah,
I've heard like lots of stories about Campbell in his personal life.
Yeah, he's just carrying forth, just sort of like oh yes, let me regale you, right?
Yeah.
So then they bring in, it just so happens that future influential phenomenologist David Abram showed up at the symposium, and he does amazing sleight of hand magic. And so he was doing that in the lobby, and Barbara McClintock came and found him and said, we've got a problem. We've got a big problem. George Lucas came to meet his hero. His hero doesn't want to meet him. Can you please come and do some magic for them? It might work. And so David Abram says, yes, he goes. And I called him up. I got in touch with David Abram, and he was very kind with his time. He called me up and told me the whole story. And he has since written it up, and it got published through the Joseph Campbell Foundation. So that story it's an amazing story. He goes back, does this magic, and it involves them putting their hands on top of each other, and they have to like cover up some cards, and it breaks the ice, right? He breaks this open. So after that, they become pals. George and Joe become pals. And George goes on to call Joseph Campbell his Yoda when he's given a major award that also was presented by James Hillman the next year or 2 years later, something like that. Anyway.
What year was this? This was
83.
Okay,
that this happens. And what's interesting is that
because it was like 86 is when Campbell lived at Skywalker Ranch.
He showed up and did some
and heavily influenced the creation of Willow.
Oh, right. Yeah.
At the same time.
Oh, right? That's cool. Yeah.
I did an episode on Willow in the lead up to the show, and we talked about how much influence Campbell, George, and like how much psychologically George was working through at that time.
Yeah.
And then Ron Howard and him, and actually I think it's Joseph Campbell's wife who actually gave like the nugget, the thing that kind of made everything work together for
Gene Erdman.
Yeah.
Gene Erdman, yeah.
And like, oh man, I love these stories. They're so
These
good.
stories are great. And these stories are important, and the facts are important. Which is why I find it slightly annoying that the account on StarWars.com about this meeting, it has some factual inaccuracies in it.
Oh man.
The first thing they get wrong is the year. They say it happens in 1984. And it did not happen in 1984 because in Campbell's book, Inner Reaches of Outer Space, which collects the talk that he gave there and some other talks, he says right up at the front, this started at the symposium in 1983.
Mm-hmm.
But then you can cross-reference that with an interview in the New York Times from, I think, December 1983 with Joseph Campbell, where he talks about going to Skywalker Ranch and watching the trilogy in one day with George. And you're like, well, clearly they didn't meet in 1984, but also the other thing about that account on StarWars.com is that they say the person who introduced them was the Nobel laureate biologist Barbara McClintock, and that's not right. There's more than one Barbara McClintock. There was a Nobel laureate cell biologist named Barbara McClintock. This was the Jungian analyst Barbara McClintock, who lived in the Bay Area. So
now this StarWars.com. But how long has this been? How long has this article been posted for?
October 22nd, 2015. It's been over 10 years. And so this is Lucasfilm's story about this important meeting between George and Joseph Campbell.
It sort of
and it's wrong.
ignores the Jungian connection.
It just doesn't know about it. If you Google Barbara McClintock, the Nobel laureate surprise pops up. But you have to do some digging before you realize, this was the other. And that was verified to me by David Abram. So,
of course, yeah. Who was there?
So,
who did a magic trick?
Who she came and got. And she was like, David.
Help.
So these stories are important.
We need these men to talk to each other.
Yeah, we do. And we really do. And so, she was kind of erased from this story. So it's not great. So I wanted to set that record straight in my book, definitely. But the other thing they say is that this happened on George Lucas's 40th birthday, and I don't know about this. His 40th birthday would have been May 14th, 1984.
Which
this was 83.
83, yeah.
So he would have been 39. But is George lying to us about the year he was born to the public? I don't know. I haven't seen his birth certificate. I don't know. It's possible for whatever reason, but I don't know. I think he probably was 39.
They were probably just calculating it out and being like, this was his 40th birthday. And oh man.
Yeah. So anyway, these stories are important, but the facts within them, the details are also, so do your homework,
I feel like like
it's another lens. It further, the reason I brought it up in the first place is it's a further support of how involved Jungians have been in George Lucas's life.
Yeah, Hillman is a Jungian.
Right. And
right?
so Star Wars has these people influence these major moments in his life. And also them meeting in May 83 with the divorce, with Return of the Jedi coming out that same month. With he's got a baby. He's middle-aged. This is all a perfect storm of, and Jungians love the midlife crisis. Like they do. They love helping people through the midlife crisis. And so it's all.
And as much as Campbell says he's not a Jungian, he's totally a Jungian. I take what I want from Jung, and I do what I want. It's like, no, you're a Jungian because you basically created your entire framework to slide into Jungian psychology.
Yeah. Totally. And
so when I use other Jungians, it's like, this doesn't contradict anything you said, Campbell.
Yeah, it fits. And it totally fits. There's a really good book by Rutger Rensma where he breaks down Campbell's position on Jung throughout his career, and he goes book by book. And it's a wonderful little book. And he says, yeah, Campbell's totally a post-Jungian. The influence is just indelible. You can't, it's there. So,
and then you have people like Maureen Murdoch who were Jungians and also sort of Campbellians, but then had to create their own lens to use more feminine symbolism so things made sense to especially women who are living in a patriarchal society. Like it's really fascinating when you start to dig into all of these ideas and you're like, oh, what is happening? And then you have to kind of strip away ideas. And it's one of the reasons I like to use Estes, because she tells stories from pre-patriarchal society. And so I like using both of them because I'm like, well, if you're telling a story that's greatly influenced by patriarchy, you'll get this kind of lens. And if you're not, then you'll get this kind of lens. That's really deep. I'm sorry.
Totally. No, that's no, and this is, I'm glad you bring it up because this is one of the things I really love about the people working in depth psychology who write books is that they are, revising these ideas and building on the ideas, and they're seeing places where there's a need, and then they're bringing it forth, the thing to fill those gaps. So it's depth psychology and especially analytical psychology and the Jungian sort of framework is very much alive, and it's very much constantly being worked on. It's not just this severely dogmatic, this is the way it is, and this is the model, and if you don't like it, then you get out of here. It's constantly building on itself. And I've got like 3 bookcases full of books by Jung and the Jungians and the people who've come since who are so influenced. It's a literature that they've brought forth, and it continues, and there are people working on it right now, and bringing forth really great, interesting new ways of looking at these things. And they criticize Jung as well. It's wonderful. It's
that's important.
It's the way it should be. You have to be able to disagree, and they disagree constructively, I would say. They bring something forth. They don't just shoot things down, which is not great. They bring something forth in their disagreement. And
my criticism is primarily around the lenses used to describe Star Wars in the modern age focus on early Campbellian works and don't read the whole repertoire, and then don't read the post-Jung thought that has been more influenced by feminism and thinkers who were trying to detangle patriarchy from Campbell. And so like that's where my podcast comes in.
Well, that's great. And you're involved in this project, which is really great. It's great. It's great. And that is a really important part of it. All of that. It's just Campbell himself. This is the thing I try to remember at all times is that Campbell himself was revising his ideas right up to the end.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he had, and the main example I keep in mind is that he had his 4 functions of myth. And from the early 60s, the 4th function, he called it the psychological function. But right at the end, like the last few years of his life, when he's in his 80s, he changed the name of it from psychological function to the pedagogical.
Oh.
Which is amazing. It's like, he still thought of it the same way, but he changed the name because he realized that calling it the psychological function is too muddy for a lot of general readers, so to speak. People hear it and they're like, psychological function. Well, what does that mean? And such a big part of that function for him is that the myth can teach us how to live a better life.
It's the ancient wisdom. And to that point, George went into creating Star Wars to give kids a framework by which to view the world from a mythological, from a sacred story perspective. It was purposeful after he had read A Hero with 1,000 Faces. He wanted kids to have something of ancient wisdom to lean back on.
Totally. And it worked on me.
Worked on me.
It still does.
It still does. Yeah, it does. Still working on me.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we haven't even talked about REYLO yet. Let's talk about REYLO.
Sure. Yes, please. Lead the way.
This is great. Thank you for setting the record straight. I really, really appreciate that.
Thanks for giving me the chance to,
I think it's important that people understand that this is a lot deeper than and it goes historically. Even George himself created a REYLO adjacent grandfathership like in Sorsha and Mad Mardigan. Right?
There you go. Yeah.
So it's
totally.
It's always been in his brain that he has these ideas. And so let's dig into what is alchemical union or Konientio. I can never pronounce it correctly. Am I pronouncing it correctly? Konientio. Konientio.
Yeah,
it's I don't like calling it that because people are like, what? But alchemical union. Conjunction.
Conjunction. Exactly.
But alchemical union, the idea that there exists within an opportunity to transform a union of opposites that takes place by which you are joined with your opposite in yourself and in your in your deep subconscious. When you're in this journey, you meet with perhaps your mirrored and dark opposite. Perhaps you meet with the love of your life and you have a very passionate kiss in the darkness. No.
Sorry.
Or you have you meet your dark mother, or you meet your dark father on the Death Star, and actually you realize that his robot hand is like your robot hand, and you experience this moment that you are not separate from the other. You are the other. And together you are actually whole in that moment. Oh, did I explain everything correctly?
Love it.
Okay.
That's a great rundown of especially with nice illustrative sort of
callbacks to
callbacks. Yeah, totally.
Callbacks to Star Wars. Except actually, even Visions, which I just finished recording on, there is this moment in one of the shorts called Bird of Paradise, where she meets not only this dark Sith in her imagination, dreamlike state, she basically experiences a very clear heroine's journey. There's all of the symbolism, and she meets a Sith version of herself, so mirror opposite version of herself in the darkness. This is a spoiler, so skip ahead 30 seconds. Instead of stabbing the dark version of herself, she allows the dark version of herself to stab her, which kills the dark version of herself, and she holds the dark version in Pieta as she dies, and they both disintegrate and become part of the galaxy.
Wow.
That is such strong apotheosis. So this idea that you become one with the universe. Also, alchemical union of your other self.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a conjunction.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I go
That's
off.
Cool. I have not watched that. I'm watching that.
It's season 3, episode 8.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's great.
And when these things come up, I'm like, hey, look, this thing just happened. And people are like, oh, Marie Claire, I need to go back and do what the Force basics, what is the alchemical union?
Yeah. Well, yes, I would say as far as that goes, and I'm thinking from a Jungian basis, Jung had a lot of focus on alchemy, and in terms of making it basic, there are his writings on alchemy are so dense, so opaque, so difficult to get in there, that there are all these great books that kind of break it down by Jungians. And then there's also workshops led by Jungians all about alchemy and the mysterium conjunctionis, as they call it, so this is what I'm trying to say.
It is this magic that has happened.
Yeah. And what I'm trying to say is that it is really difficult to wrap one's head around. It's so when you talk about what the Force basics and stuff like that on this subject, this is a subject that people spend a lot of time and focus trying to learn about and figure out, and it's not easy. So I think that's all natural. I think that's, sort of having the situation wait, what is that again? How does that work again? I have to prime myself on it each time I'm going to think about it, talk about it, just to remind myself sort of the outline, so it's complicated. It's complicated stuff.
My other love, other than Star Wars and, sort of fiction and talking about sort of North American media, is Asian dramas, specifically C-dramas and K-dramas, because the symbolism, especially when they deal with genres or the fantasy setting, they get this on a very psychologically based level, and almost every drama has some sort of version of a union of opposites, and they amp it up to 11 with both the symbolism and the textual plot that happens with the characters, because they understand what they're playing with, right? They understand this idea, either that it's just so important to understand that, you're not different from your opposite, right? Or they'll make it very romantic, which is this person from this hell dimension joins with this person from this heaven dimension. It always does that.
Yeah.
And there's also a ton of heroine's journey symbolism that plays out in those. And so it's become very second nature to me, because I expose myself to the symbolism, which is actually more rare in North American media.
Right. Totally. Yeah. I was going to say it's not, it's not coming up again and again. Although we're starting to see some things pop up here and there, Yeah, which is exciting.
When it comes out, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, but we're not steeped in it, like you said.
No.
That's so interesting.
It's not something that people are fundamentally familiar with, but I do think that when we do experience it and you're riding along with the story, it changes you.
Yeah.
Psychologically.
Yeah. And it makes sense because they do it purposefully and they do it well, right?
Yeah.
And David Abram, he did his magic, but he also went on to his 2 books, The Spell of the Sensuous and Becoming Animal, are wonderful books. Really wonderful books. The Spell of the Sensuous is a great book on phenomenology, just the experience of experiencing life, And one thing he says in there that has really stuck with me is that we need stories to make sense. And by sense, he means They have to enliven our senses. We have to feel it, you know? Our senses have to be enlivened by a story. And so what you're talking about sounds like, you know, they do it purposefully and they do it well in a way where you get it, you feel it, and it's your sense of it is alive. It makes sense. So that's what stories need to do if they're going to touch us and change us.
And I want to talk about like the apotheosis moments of REYLO, because I think it's really important to understand why people, and what I call, experienced an apotheosis of media. So they experienced this because they were watching it, and the symbolism and the story all aligned together, and then why perhaps The Rise of Skywalker didn't work for people.
Good.
So let's go back to The Force Awakens a little bit. Let's start with Kylo Ren. We have Kylo Ren, who is this character, and he very much looks like a Darth Vader type. People often refer to him as like a Darth Vader fanboy from that era.
Sure.
Right? Sure. Like, because, you know, he's got the skull, he's in the outfit, he's like, and really like Twinkie. Like, he's not as scary as Darth Vader. And actually, his master is this towering holographic image that even tries to like be more scary than Palpatine.
Yeah, gross old white guy.
Yeah, right? Yeah. And like he himself even seems like you're not really like that good at this. Like you're kind of bad at being bad. Right? So we have this character that's like out there, and we're introduced and he's even made fun of like the truth that is your family, like in TFA. Like, so we find out that he is the child of Han and Leia, and he has gone off the rails and is helping the bad people. And that is the tragedy, and that is the problem at the center of TFA. That is what causes all of the problem. And I think that people might miss that.
Oh, yeah.
As the story went on, they missed that the problem that needed to be solved was Ben Solo.
There you go. Yeah.
It's from the first moments, this will begin to make things right. And then he arrives and he's like, dude, you're denying the truth that is your family.
Yeah.
Like, you got history here. You should probably listen to it. And he's like, kill you.
Yeah.
But we're faced with a hero that comes out of nowhere, right? So it's very biblical, the, Moses type idea, like person that comes from the desert, from nowhere.
Yeah.
With Rey.
Yeah. With Rey.
She has no family. She has no connections. So instantly we have this bad person with all of the connections, and we have this nobody with no connections.
Like no connection. Yeah.
How alchemical is that?
Yeah. It's they're building the opposites are right from the get-go.
Right from the get-go. And actually in the TLJ book, there is this image, which is the union of their two faces. And it was actually part of I put it in the notes, but it is actually part of the TLJ art of book, but it was actually created for TFA.
Okay.
And they only released it in the TLJ book to basically say, like, we've been talking about this whole time. And they call them the two halves of the same protagonist.
Yeah.
Whoa, what?
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too, because in that image, it's his mask.
It's his
mask. It's her face and then his mask. It's not Adam Driver.
Yeah. There's some really cool like costume symbolism too, because his mask has the stormtrooper eyes, and when she's introduced, she has a mask made out of leather of the stormtrooper lens.
Her goggles. Yeah.
So
that's
they show us that they are the opposites from the beginning.
Yeah, it's right there.
Like she's only wearing like natural made stuff, except for this. Like where the eyes are, i.e. the window to the soul.
Yeah, and isn't she camping out in an AT-AT
in an
walker?
AT-AT, like a fallen one.
An AT-AT. Yeah.
So like
Home
from
sweet
the
home for
beginning, they
her.
have they've set them up as these things. She is nothing and he is everything to the universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
He is this like blood of Darth Vader, the heir apparent to Darth Vader. Like they literally say you're the most important person in the galaxy, Kylo Ren, because you're the pivot point of everything. But when she comes from nowhere, she's actually the heroine. And they frame it. They did some bad stuff with the marketing, obviously, to have Finn have the lightsaber, and then like how they showed stuff. Like they didn't show that this was the core of the story, and also it pissed off John Boyega, which is unfortunate.
And understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They didn't tell what they were trying to say, so it wasn't fair. It also didn't set maybe the audience's expectations correctly, which that's a different problem.
Yeah.
They start telling the story of TFA, and we end up getting to this point where Ben kills his dad, not because he hates him, but because he loves him too much and needed to prove his loyalty to this death cult that he's part of.
Oh, God. Yeah, that's so depressing. Avoid death cults, kids.
Yeah. I mean, you'd have to avoid,
and adults,
much of the United States at this point.
Yeah.
To avoid the death cults.
Yeah.
Because like it's all about death. Every aspect of the United States right now, unfortunately, is all about how can we make people hurt, die, be killed by guns.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah. It ain't good. Yeah. It ain't a good time here.
No. And it sort of makes me wonder why, like, Kylo Ben resonated a lot with women who are living in patriarchy. A lot of women saw him as their animus.
Yeah. Well, and that historical moment, historicizing this contemporary mythology, a rise of the far right appears in the years with the First Order, showing up, and they're clearly a neo-fascist, organization.
It was pre-telling us what was going to happen in the United States. Oh yeah,
the pulse was it. Yeah, it's there, and preparing us. It's like, hey, and even with the Revenant Palpatine as well. It's like whack-a-mole. You defeat the fascism. Guess what? Oh, somehow it came back.
Like Hydra in Marvel. Like it is what it is. Like kill one head. And it's interesting because they even doubled down on like the stormtrooper idea that like the kids are actually taken from birth.
Yeah.
Right? So it's even
their
like
innocence.
More of that. Like more like it's so really weird when you look at this from a metatextual perspective.
Yeah. It fits the time, Yeah,
really it's of the time. Contemporary mythology.
There it is
happening, right? So we do have these, and how it plays out is they end up having this fight at the end of the movie. It is snowy, but then you also have this symbolism of the fire because the planet is splitting apart. Wow. Okay. More alchemical symbolism of opposites. What?
Yes.
I feel like I'm breaking it down very simply because I'm like, this is why it resonated with so many people, is because when we see the symbolism play out this way, it speaks to something deep within us.
Yeah. Somehow it's easier to digest through story than just straight talk.
I also think that there's like something in having multiple layers of symbolism, like the costuming speaking to it, the environment, the text, like all of these things when they're all like working in tandem together, makes you get the story easier. So like I did an episode on K-pop Demon Hunters for my other pod, What the Fiction, and it is one of my most listened episodes on that because I talk about how this stuff, when you symbolically layer it together, you really do get like more of the effect that they're going for. So it has to be purposeful to do this correctly.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
And so they fight, right? And she calls to the saber because it falls off to the ground, or he calls to the saber, but she ends up getting it. So again, that like he was supposed to be the heir apparent of this whole legacy. Like his name is literally like the mixture of Kylo or of Skywalker and Solo. Like Kylo Ren is is his like online bro name or whatever. He calls to the saber and he's like, it's gonna come to me, and it comes to her, and so he's like, wait a second, what? And they fight, and then they're in the snow, and he's pushing her and leaning her over the sort of vat of, or the crevice of all this lava and fire, and you see their like the lightsabers themselves flashing on each other's faces. And this is the first alchemical moments of potential. And I'm going to tell you that this moment people are freaking obsessed with psychologically.
Okay.
Because they are flashing at each other, and he's like, join me. And she's like, no, the Force. Like, I got to be calm in this moment. I can't possibly join you in the dark side because that's not right.
Yeah.
And then
that's
she
great.
Like kicks his butt. And
then
gets
she
the scar.
She kicks his butt. Yeah. Yeah.
She slices up his face. She breaks him.
With his grandfather's lightsaber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yes. Yeah, she makes a mark. She leaves a mark on it.
She marks him. And, and like Reylos will talk about how this is like her marking him. And he actually, she ends up getting a scar on her arm too after the second time they're together.
Okay.
Which looks like two hands that are clasped or about to touch.
And
so that's really cool.
Just like that.
Yeah.
Wow.
But they
kind
go
of
their
like when they
separate
touch
ways.
through the Force. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
that's
they
later.
go their separate ways. And she goes and reaches out to Luke, and Luke is like, look, I'm a hermit now.
Yeah, Luke. I mean, he's going through his Uncle Owen phase.
Yeah.
He's just like harumphy and
and like he just doesn't want to deal with the fact that he had a moment of weakness just like everybody else out there, and that he almost fell to the dark side, and he can't put those two concepts together, that he is this hero in the galaxy. And honestly, it's fascinating because so many kids that grew up with Luke as their hero could not see how he could get to that place when really it's the most realistic thing.
It makes so much sense. Yeah, it makes so much sense. Yeah, totally. And that's who she encounters. The teacher who can't teach her.
The teacher, yeah. And like when you have a hermit who's in a crone archetype, I'm using a lot of the terminology that has come out with like Maureen Murdoch and others, in addition to Campbell, because he does talk about this phase, but it's more from a masculine lens. When you're in a crone archetype like that, but you're a hermit, it's often the young hero that pulls you out of it.
Yeah, it's the Jungians talk about the Senex and the Puer, and Hillman talks a lot about how that relationship is crucial.
Yeah,
the youth is the Puer is the youth, the young child, and the Senex is the old person, and it's the relationship between them. If there's a Senex, there's going to be a Puer who shows up, or if there's a Puer, there's going to be a Senex who shows up.
Yep.
That relationship is crucial and very mythological. Yeah,
and these sorts of things are also unions, right? And
sure.
In a dark side version of it, it is predatory. And I call it dark union because it is often abusive. It is often in a way to use the young person's power. If it is a, opposite version, like, so they're also opposites, but it is being used in a power dynamic, like you have Palpatine with Anakin, then it is a corruptive union that is entirely in service of the power dynamic.
Yeah.
And then what breaks that fundamentally is a divine union or an alchemical union. That breaks it. That breaks the power structure of that. So when we have in Return of the Jedi, you have Luke realizing that he is his father.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he is like his father, and his father realizing that he is like his son, then that breaks the dynamic and he's able to overcome Palpatine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and Jung called that the transcendent function, the that third way.
Mm-hmm. The third way, because it creates
rejecting
an alternative to the binary.
Exactly.
Campbell talks about that as the experience of the mask of God, that you can understand that there is a way past just right or wrong. And it's why so many Reylos were obsessed with this quote from Victoria Mahoney, the second unit director from The Rise of Skywalker.
Okay.
And she had a Rumi quote that said, out beyond the field of good and bad, out beyond the ideas of good and bad, there is a field. I'll meet you there.
That's right. You talked about this with Missy.
Right?
Yeah, totally. I didn't know that till then. Yeah, that quote. Yeah.
There's so much Reylo history that I have to hook you up with.
Yes. No, this is important.
It's part of it.
You know, and it's exactly. I'm so glad you're doing this work, because look, we're at a juncture, and where is Star Wars going next? And Reylo, I think, just makes the most sense.
Yeah.
So,
and if we're not going to get it in Star Wars, we're going to get it in K-pop Demon Hunters, and they're going to become the new mythology. Yeah. Because they're hitting the 8 to 12-year-olds.
Oh my gosh, it's like Beatlemania with the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's still Golden and Takedown were on my radio yesterday.
There you go.
Still, it's been almost 6 months.
Yeah, that's wonderful. That we don't have many monoculture moments anymore, and just having a text, a thing, a story speak like that. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, everybody should be paying attention to this. Look over here.
This has the wisdom of ages in it.
Yeah, there it is. Yeah.
So let's talk about TLJ. So of course,
TLJ. Yeah.
Ryan,
my favorite.
Read The Little Book on the Human Shadow and Modern Man in Search of a Soul by Carl Jung, and often described the characters as dual protagonists or two halves of the same protagonist.
Yeah.
Right there.
He's out of his mouth. Mm-hmm. He said it.
He said it. And he also talked about how much like the concepts were on his mind as he was preparing for this. He also watched the dailies of TFA as he was writing TLJ.
Oh, okay.
So he saw the symbolism as it was being born. So it's not like it's out of anywhere, right?
Yeah.
It definitely was tied back to the idea, right? So he took the ideas, and I don't know, like, because they had not necessarily had a whole idea in mind where they were going with it, that's where it feels like it went off the rails a little bit for some people, because he was able to just write what he wanted to write and be brave, and Kathleen Kennedy encouraged him to do that.
Yeah, she believed in him. Yeah, and gave him that space. That's a big thing, to be given that space on a project of that size.
But it also had a feminine lens on top of it, which is when he would write, he would deliver what he had written that day to Carrie Hart.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And so she would give him commentary back.
And she, of course, at the time was leading the story group. Is that right? Yeah. So that's great.
So it had this, like, not only was it Rian Johnson, but it was Rian Johnson with immediate feminine feedback of somebody who is very smart. Carrie Hart is so interesting and smart when you hear her talk about things. When you're blessed with the opportunity to hear Carrie Hart talk about things.
Yeah. So, and those are the people you want to have there. It's like with fiction, the role of the editor. You know, you want an editor who is going to be really smart and really sensitive to the human condition and also art and artistry and all the rest of it. Yeah, that's what you want.
from the start of The Last Jedi, we have interplays of very feminine symbolism. So we have caves and we have yonic symbolism and we have, death and life, and we have opposites. Like it's honestly too much to go into. Go back to my previous episodes where I talk about the female gaze and the heroine's journey, because I talk about all of the symbolism throughout it. I don't need to necessarily repeat myself. But it's there, right? And you can even go into the art of The Last Jedi and see like it's life and death, and there's birth and rebirth, and she ends up in water, which is there's a skeleton underneath it. So it is that Jungian dream of him being in the womb and there's a skeleton next to him. So even that is very Jungian when she falls through the dark side cave into the water. She's reborn, experiencing the death and rebirth in the same moment. And that's when she first experiences an alchemical union of sorts, in that she faces herself in the mirror.
Multiple versions of herself.
Yeah, identical. Like the endless
the whole line. Yeah, it's a line of her.
Like, is this chosen one, this idea that has traced back to the end of forever, trying to solve this problem? And she's like, show me my family. And so many Reylos see in this blob Kylo.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
They see him in that. So is that projection? Is that
That's
purposeful?
Interesting. Do we know do we know who the blob was? Was it just special effects, or did they
I don't
film
know that
Adam
we've
Driver?
Ever found out.
Because that'd be interesting if it was Adam Driver that the blob was.
But we find like we think that she's gone to go and talk to Luke, but she actually went to go talk to Kylo, because they've been experiencing this bridge of connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where they can talk but can't necessarily hurt each other or touch, as far as they know. Right?
Right.
And this is quite a common symbolism with soulmate stories, or people that are two halves of the same whole. Being able to communicate like cross distance or in their dreams is something that pops up all the time in story from the beginning of time. The idea that there is this secondary third pathway, or this place that they can meet each other. It's cool.
It's very cool. Yeah. Yeah.
And then, so then they have the hand touch scene, which is like,
it's wonderful.
The Reylos call it the smut hut.
The smut hut. I love that. That's so funny. Because they've talked about how this is the closest thing there will be to a sex scene in Star Wars.
Yeah, right.
I remember,
and Andor ended up having one like a couple of years later. But the hand touch scene, and this is where like the layers of symbolism that Reylos have dug into to know that, like, it's weird because like when you start to feel something, you want to dig deeper to be like, how deep does the rabbit hole go?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Yes, absolutely.
The air leaves the room, so it gets silent for a moment, and then they start to play the first lines of Across the Stars.
Okay. Yeah.
And we find that because of that moment, they see each other's potential future. So they are now each other. Like,
oh yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like that's because they touched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it made me think of just a line out of Walt Whitman's workbooks where he says, touch is the miracle.
Oh.
This is like an amazing, when you think about it, like touch is the miracle. And it also makes me think of George Lucas and Joseph Campbell's hands touching each other, one on top of the other.
And like that electricity, because the only thing that actually ends up passing is energy between you. You can never truthfully touch somebody.
Right. And I asked David Abram when he told me his story, I was like, so what happens when two hands touch like that? And he said, I don't know. But two living beings have a chance to entrain to one another. And I love the way he put that entrain.
Oh, yeah.
To entrain to one another. And I feel like that occurs here with this moment with Rey and Kylo.
Absolutely.
They have this chance. It's the first spark It's like,
and this is an alchemical union. Even though it's interrupted, it is absolutely this moment of compassion between them and them interconnecting. And it ties to the symbolism that is in the cave up above her in the Jedi First Temple, right? It is that these two are one.
Yeah. Because there's that mosaic in the pool of the light and dark prime Jedi.
Yeah, which is very like yin yang.
Yeah. Yeah,
symbol,
totally.
Right? Like that idea of them being the light in the dark and the dark in the light, and that they are one together.
Yeah.
And then she's like, okay, he has a chance to be saved. You thought his story was told, but it wasn't. He still has a chance to come back. And I'm like, although there is like a ton of REYLO alchemical symbolism in like the Rise of Skywalker, I will point that out. But much of what is happening psychologically as a person who really was vibing with what was happening in this, they're picking it up on like so many levels that it is transforming their psychology as they are watching it. And so I'm going to make a statement. I don't think that you can be a Jungian and not a REYLO.
Ooh, I love that. Oh, interesting. An absolute. Only cis deal in absolutes.
Oh, I don't think so. Like, seriously. And understand the symbolism.
Well, Jungian, yeah. Be a Jung. Well, look, like, yes, I think you're exactly right.
At least understand it.
Yeah, a proper Jungian, like Jungians are so, they like the dark side, the shadow,
like all of it is also there.
Yeah, totally.
At least understand why it's appealing to people.
Absolutely. I think if we had Jungians listening to this, they'd probably be nodding along. It's like, yup.
Oh, yeah, there's the symbols. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. And there is that.
And if you're not, you're just kind of probably there's some sort of shadow in the way that's like, I can't like this because of my own experience.
Well, sure. I mean, who knows? But that, Rey and Kylo are both reaching for wholeness, and and if they are the two halves of one protagonist, then they need to go through something together in order to attain wholeness and to become whole in themselves. And so I think that hits on so many Jungian points right there. It lights up the Christmas tree, it's like ding, there it is. Yeah. So I think you're right.
The thermometer
I agree with
there.
you.
It's like REYLO Jungian. Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I agree with you.
So you're a REYLO. I get it.
I'm a REYLO. Yeah, but here's what I want to say though. I'm a REYLO, but I am an uneducated REYLO. And so part of what's exciting about this and about talking with you, and then also all these REYLOs on social media have been active, and I've got a bunch of
didn't even know what you did.
I'm following. No, I didn't. No, but that's so great. I think it's great that there are REYLOs, and I'm a REYLO. It's just I'm not the smart REYLO. I'm the baby REYLO. In a lot of ways, I would say.
There are so many post-Tross REYLOs out there now because amazing. They watched the movies, and although they had no expectation of it ending any differently because they watched all of them and saw he's like not there, they still were impacted by this apotheosis that they experienced through experiencing the media. So they are forever changed because of the media and the story.
Yeah, for sure. And it's just so exciting to think that, and I think with Tross, I mean, for me, one of the things that happens is just there wasn't that feeling of satisfaction in it making sense.
Yeah.
And I think there are just some missing story parts, the story's not over. That's what's not satisfying is that the story is not over as it stands.
And I'm going to go into like why I think that there's still like big story pieces that could be plugged into in a second. But
I love it. I love it.
She goes and she ships herself off to Kylo after having a fight with Luke and being like, no, Dad, right. I'm going to go. Right? Like, sometimes you have to like disappoint your mentors, although he was not a great one.
He's not moment. A great one.
No. And, it's funny because you read these things and like Rian Johnson was like, could you make the escape pod more coffin-like?
Oh, really? Oh, is that in there? That's so perfect. Yeah, because it's obviously a coffin.
So it is a death and union moment, right? And a lot of people love that scene. She's like, wait a second. Like, she's so sure of herself. She's got her lightsaber in hand, which, of course, the symbolism of it being very phallic. Like, shows up and into the underworld, basically. Like, she shows up into the underworld and is brought through the elevator scene where they're together to this moment with Kylo and Snoke.
His master.
And like you get like this to me is the closest that you get to quote unquote sex in Star Wars, in that they are fighting together in union. When he makes the decision to turn, it's so well done. Like everybody was cheering. So everybody's obsessed with the fight, redoing it to new music, like it's great. And they're working together and they sense each other, and like she tasks the lightsaber and they're using each other's lightsabers. And this also is an alchemical moment of union between opposites in that they exchange freely the two of themselves. Like,
oh yeah.
Right.
And the red backdrop that burns slowly and
revealing the stars, which the space is also symbolically a underworld in Star Wars, because it's vast and unknowable and all of those things.
Totally.
It's the unknown.
Yeah.
And so like then they have this moment where they think that they've won on their own psychological terms, right? Like he's like, yes, she's joining me. She's like, yes, she's turning back from the dark side to the light side. And then they have the fight and he's like, hey, you were supposed to join me. You're nobody except for like in relation to me. And it's the same same problems that they had in TFA.
Yeah. One-sidedness.
Right?
Both of them. Yeah.
And then they fight over the lightsaber and it breaks.
Yeah. At the point that Admiral Holdo.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Holdo maneuver. Yeah.
To show like they've been forcibly separated.
Yeah. Yep.
That they are ultra powerful together, but they haven't figured stuff out yet.
Yeah.
So when I explain it like that, I feel like I don't think I'm alone in this when I say that is what everybody who is obsessed with Rey and Kylo and Reylo and the idea of them being together, that's how they saw it.
Yeah. It's well, and it's, I think so much of this is obviously what has spawned. I mean, at that point, fueled Reylo engagement, right? They had story with proper substance to it to build upon, react to, work with, dream the myth onwards.
Dream the myth onwards, yeah.
Yeah, and if it had just been...
Although Reylo Publishing or Reylo Fiction started with TFA, it exploded with TLJ. Okay. So then it really exponentially, that's where it gained its steam. Because you had so much of the symbolism of their union and what it was important. And when you experience an apotheosis, which was, again, back to the hut, not... Yeah. Like the fight was part of like an extended version of that, like how powerful they are together. Because when you
get to like consummate it.
It's sex. But like dancing, fighting, sex. Yeah. They're all the joined union. Being a battle couple is the same symbolism. But when you have that, then you are yourself have taken a piece of the apotheosis from the story and are given enormous energy.
Yeah.
That's psychologically what happens. When you experience apotheosis, even through watching it on screen, you're given energy, and it's creative energy. And so that was the explosion of art on the internet. That was the explosion of stories. That was talking, metas, me being like, I need to start a podcast, because I started my podcast in February after The Last Jedi.
Okay.
Because I could not find anyone talking about Star Wars the way I wanted to have Star Wars talked about.
Yeah.
And that hunger has not ceased since 2017.
Yeah. It's just built.
Yeah.
Wow. So, I mean, the Last Jedi really, it's such a gift to us in so many ways. But this is a big one, though. And also exciting to see something this complex happening with characters who were new to the saga as well. You know, that it's building on it. It's taking it to, it becomes even more intergenerational with these characters, which it needed, but it was purposeful and effective.
Yeah. And because this is all in the environment of, with TFA, people genuinely thought that Rey was either a Kenobi or a Skywalker, literally Luke's daughter.
I remember that. Yeah.
And so people who were I had a good friend who wrote a ukulele song of they're not siblings. There's no way they put this symbolism in and made them siblings. But people were very because there was a version of the mythology that lived in the EU, they were very much caught.
Oh, yeah.
Some people were very much caught in that can only be the truth. And so it's like when we talk about orthodox versions of the mythology, some people are following orthodox versions of the mythology still to this day.
Yeah, for sure.
Mara Jade, that will be a wound for a generation of men. Not existing in the world and not giving Luke a version of alchemical union. Not giving Luke a version of alchemical union has wounded men. Some men.
That's such a it's such an interesting and all the speculation now about, isn't Amy Adams is going to be in the new something, and then people are like, "Who's Mara Jade?" It's doubt it. But
I don't know that they're going to do that, because where is she? Right? It's just
I don't think it would even make up. I mean, I think for the time it's set, it wouldn't make sense. So these characters and that dogmatic sort of sticking to, it's just, this is what canon is. This is
what canon can be because I saw it first.
Yeah. When mythology jumps the fence every time. Yeah.
You try to pin it down.
And you can like all of it. You don't have to. You don't.
I love Visions, right? And I talk about Visions, and I'm like, I hate it when they actually try to pin it down into a time and space, because then I'm like, no, I want it to be just out there talking about the concepts that I talk about.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a really interesting thing that happened when I was recording on Visions. Sorry for the aside, listeners. I apologize.
Please don't.
But the Ronin, he talks about how the Jedi Crusader that is chasing him is off balance because he hasn't accepted his darkness. And it's so Jungian. It's so Jungian. And then I went on the internet and I was like, hey, what does Reddit think about Visions? And they're like, this isn't actually like Star Wars. No, this is pretend Star Wars. This isn't actually what Star Wars is trying to say. And I'm like, oh, my sweet summer child.
Honey, it's all Star Wars.
It's all Star Wars. And when you have an experience like Yoda killing his shadow in the Clone Wars, that's a bad thing. And I will fight anyone who says otherwise, because
he doesn't integrate it.
And that's why he goes off and hides in Dagobah for 30 years.
Yeah. I talk about that in the book. Yeah. I'm like, that
was not good.
He did not, that encounter there with the shadow, that's not, the Jungians are going,
Yeah.
It's got some work to do.
and seeing that it's played out differently, like I talked about with the Bird of Paradise short, shows that, we had to show you the truth for the true version, right? There wasn't enough consequences in the story of the Clone Wars to show that Yoda was wrong. And sometimes subtext doesn't get it across to people who watch Star Wars. They need to have it in the symbolism, they need to have it in the subtext, and they have to have it textually said back to them. And that's why, as much as I struggle with Mandalorian, they say things out loud to say what's happening. They're like, this is the symbolism we're tying to.
Yeah.
Everybody on the same page?
Yeah. I read an essay somewhere recently where they were talking about how that is happening across media a lot more often since the pandemic. Shows, especially in shows, exposition is just blatantly, and they were tying it to also to like distraction, cell phone usage. People are not watching shows. They have their phone in their hand and they're sort of half listening to a show. So they have the characters say these things. I don't know how true that is, but it's an interesting thing to think about. And it's consequential to storytelling. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was trying to think. It's Jamel. She was in The Good Place, and she actually said how she's getting direction from directors to dumb down how she acts. Like, so like people can like right? Like, and she's like, it's really bad. And even the Pope is like, guys, save the cinema, like yesterday.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Right. Even the Pope.
The Pope is like, save the cinema, guys. Like, we need to save stories, and we need to demand like the beauty of story in art, because this is the biggest thing as a culture that we tie back to.
Totally. Yeah. And it's tough, you know. I think trusting your audience is a big step. You know, and some things fly over some audience members' heads. Other things sink in with other audience members. That's why we need to be talking with each other about this too. Because you know, you
talk
find
about
things,
the why.
I don't. Yeah, I don't see. I'll find things and talk about them with you. You haven't seen. That's where you know, the constructiveness and the communalness of story really is important as well. Yeah, doing what we're doing right now. I'm learning so much. You know. Right.
Digging into the Rise of Skywalker, they hadn't like connected in a while.
You're kidding.
No, it was a year between the movies.
Oh my gosh!
In timeline, right?
Yeah, right.
I do like the Legacy of Vader. I'm planning on covering it when it's all done. But there's some really good stuff in it. Like Charles Soule is such an interesting writer.
Good. I'm one of those boring people who waits till it comes out in a like bound volume.
Oh yeah.
So I just have the first half. Oh, but okay. Yeah. I'm excited though.
Yeah. Like he definitely is tying into things that like Reylos have talked about, like how like it's all Reylo headcanon, like how we all think that Kylo has a fashion sense and he has like 6 outfits and the whole thing.
Oh, nice.
Like it's just like interesting things like that Charles, are you in our feeds? Are you reading our stuff?
Oh, that's cool. Cool. You know? Yeah, he's a great storyteller. I really like. Yeah. The first half of that, I just wolfed it down.
Absolutely. But you know, so Kylo's in this like bad place, I would say, psychologically, as the supreme leader of the First Order. He being separated from his other half as he has been is not great for him. It's like when you deny yourself, right? It's all back to the start of TFA, when you deny the truth that is your family, because what they've done symbolically as well as in screen is say that another term for alchemical union is alchemical marriage. They are married.
Yep.
From a symbolic perspective. So Rey is now his family.
Yeah. Yeah.
They even dress them in white and black. And it goes extreme, like, because she was kind of a beigey color, darker color by the end of
Right. They're like, TLJ. We need to bleach that beige We need to
and you're gonna wear like a hood, and it's like, and then he gets a hood. Like they specifically, even with the costuming, right? And she ends up like covering her scar that she got in that TLJ fight, which looks like the hands clasped. But and also there's the same sort of wrapping around the lightsaber to like heal it up.
Oh, right. Yeah.
The tape.
Yeah.
Tapes that lightsaber back together. But no, like that's not actually healing it. Right.
Right. Yeah.
And they fight and they do like they have their like force times.
They have their force times.
Yeah. And he's like,
they come to the dyad thing.
Yeah. And they start talking about the concept of the dyad, which formalizes it. And again, oh man, Chris Terrio, he's like, the mythical dyad. And I actually do think that he didn't know what he was talking about.
Was he just spitballing?
No.
I have wondered, because after that, I scoured all my Campbell and all the rest of it.
Okay.
And I was like...
So you have to look up the two spellings of it. There's the duad and the dyad.
Exactly. Yeah.
Duad and dyad. And so the only time that Campbell talks about dyad in published works, my good friend John Booker has
love him.
Access to other stuff, obviously.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Which
director of the Joseph Campbell Foundation.
Yes. Which I did a panel at Star Wars Celebration Japan on Ahsoka and Ahsoka going into the underworld and all of that symbolism, which is really fun. But he specifically said that there is another mention in relation to mythology and closer to alchemical union and that sort of idea. So it could be that in George's archives, in the Skywalker Ranch, the big library there, that there is stuff that we as people don't have access to, that is
might be
hidden in the Joseph Campbell Foundation or whatever.
Yeah, the Campbell papers are at they're at a Jungian institute. They're at Pacifica Graduate Institute in Santa Barbara. So and you can go look at them. You can go in and ask for a scholar pass and go through them.
I need to. The U.S. needs to be less fascist for me to go.
Yeah. We'll take it. We need to take care of that first.
Yeah, can you take care of that so I can go to the Lucas Narrative Museum, and then I can go to Santa Barbara, just do a little tour, go do all my little mythological stuff.
Yeah, totally.
But specifically, the dyad is referred to in his the biography that was done on him, and it's about him talking about how when you are married, you become a dyad, like basically something that is greater than the sum of its parts.
Yeah.
And that's what he talks about. So Chris, what?
Yeah, it's tenuous. I talk about that in the book. It's tenuous.
So again, it could be that there is something that is accessible, right? But I do think he was actually referring to the duad.
I think he was listening to the interviews with Michael Toms that Joseph Campbell did, because Campbell in and they were published in a really tiny little book Shambhala put out, and you can get the audio of these interviews, but they also published them as a little book. And I mean it's literally like this big. It's a pocketbook, and it's in there where Campbell's talking about the marriage and the Hyros Gamos and that. And I think that was the closest thing I can find to jiving with what Terrio, and I wouldn't be surprised if Terrio had that little book.
I also think that it could have been he read through George's original treatment of the sequel trilogy, and there was probably like a note like duad or dyad, like JC says or whatever. Like it could have been something like that is like a telephone game or through the George Lucas machine, because I do not think that we get the snake healing scene without some sort of inspiration from George Lucas.
Yeah. It'd be great to go through all those files.
I would love any sort of behind the scenes other than what they actually presented us.
Totally. Yeah. Give us some archive. Like, let's look through the archives.
Yeah.
It'd be awesome to have that kind of freedom to just peek.
To actually say like, hey, what is this?
Yeah, do some legit research,
Yeah, yeah, because
because
it definitely
it is consequential.
that symbolism of healing the snake. So snakes themselves, to the Ouroboros idea is alchemical union.
Yeah.
Is alchemy. Eating
Yeah.
your own tail. The Ouroboros eating its own tail is alchemical union. Is the idea that the consumptive nature of like a dark side type idea is satisfied by the creation idea, and it is union in the symbolic sense of lingam yoni ideas, like sex, like that, like the symbolically it's the same, right? So by creating, you are no longer destroying, and you are now experiencing a union and are whole, i.e. the Ouroboros or the infinity symbol.
Yeah.
And then you are
Absolutely.
one with the galaxy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Which is, and Jung was interested in that. The reason he was interested in these symbols, they're weird symbols, a snake eating its own tail and all that. And yet it pops up again and again in medieval alchemy. And he was looking at medieval alchemy and really got in the weeds with it so much because what he saw there were the metaphors for psychological development and what he called individuation of, becoming who you are to the fullest, most whole extent possible. He saw those metaphors there in the alchemists' writings and in their art also. And so he analyzed it so closely because he was like, okay, I believe that there's this process of psychological development and becoming our most whole selves. But where can I find examples of this metaphorically and in symbol? And he saw it in medieval alchemy. So that's why he did a deep 30-year dive on it. And
I think he would have become a pop culture analyst as well if he had lived in our times, because of the access to media and being able to see media so clearly. Because what we end up seeing in our story is that you go through individualization and then you end up going into spiritual internalized journeys where you are fighting yourself, and then you go back into individualization, and it's a cycle back and forth between going external and going internal. And as you move through the life archetypes in storytelling, you end up kind of going in and out and in and out as you go through the aging life archetypes from maiden, hero, queen, king, crone, mage, and and it follows this cycle. And when you go into the underworld, you're either fighting something or you're fighting yourself.
Yeah. It's a whole process. And I think you're right. I think he would have looked to pop culture. He did look at pop culture. He loved She by H. Rider Haggard. The story about the white woman, mana personality living in Africa, this sort of Victorian fantasy novel. He also used The Time Machine by H.G. Wells, and Jung knew H.G. Wells also, but he would use The Time Machine to illustrate some of his points. So in his own time, he did turn to some pop culture to help communicate some of his complicated ideas. So yeah, he died 16 years before Star Wars. But if he'd been around, he would have probably taken some kind of note of it. Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it would have spoken to him symbolically. So we get to the fight on the Death Star.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which, there's a lot going on. Like, she goes and fights her own...
That's right.
Dentata version of herself. And he's like, hey, come with me. But they get to the fight in the Death Star, and they fight and there's it's the ruins, but it's also water, and it's really cool looking.
Yeah, the visuals.
She stabs him, kills him. Yeah, he's dying, and then she's like, no, I heal you. And I would have taken your hand, Ben Solo's hand. So that's really cool.
Oh yeah.
There's definitely some good stuff in The Rise of Skywalker. Oh. It's just filled with other stuff too that confuses stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. No, you're right. It's got these moments where you're just like, oh,
And so
Yeah.
because he experiences alchemical union and death, he ends up having a moment with his dad and like a vision or something in his brain.
Yeah, who knows
and
what
throws
that is.
his lightsaber, his bad lightsaber, into the ocean. We're like, no, that was cool.
Yeah. Whoa, what are you doing? Whoa.
Whoa, man. And she goes and talks to Luke, and it's a weird scene.
Right. That is a weird
it.
scene. Yeah, I have to. Yeah, he's all jolly.
Yeah, he's like jolly.
His
Buddha,
tone is
Luke.
really weird. Yeah,
it's
like too jolly.
It's weird.
Yeah.
But she gets both lightsabers. Like she has like the Skywalker lightsaber, and she has Leia's lightsaber. And then she goes and fights Palpatine, or goes to go and approach Palpatine, and then we never hear Ben Solo talk again.
Never says another word.
Except for Al.
Except for Al. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh. He's he, like his mother. He is silent when Jabba takes his mother and victimizes her, and her voice goes where?
She stops talking. Yeah.
Ben stops talking.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's weird.
It's weird.
But he shows up, right? And there's been so many edits of this moment of him running into the underworld, basically symbolically, like to go and get his lady. And like what I found so fascinating, which I don't know if you've listened to my second episode I did on the hunt for Ben Solo, but they specifically pulled out this moment by which Palpatine is facing off against Rey. And Rey is like, okay, I'll strike you down, but not really, haha. And she passes the lightsaber through the Force to Ben in that moment. And that is also an alchemical union because they see each other through the Force and they're like reflected in each other's eyes and stuff like that. It's really beautiful. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and they specifically pull out this one moment that is a response, and they posted it like the day after Adam, or maybe it was the Wednesday after Adam had his article come out. It was the Wednesday after. But it's this very specific clip that's like, how could somebody still exist or come back or transport through the Force? And it's like, here's a lightsaber that goes through the Force.
Oh, right. Right.
And also it shows it has Palpatine talking about the dyad being the most powerful thing in the galaxy, and that it's rejuvenating him, i.e. bringing him back from the dead.
Right.
And then also they transport the lightsaber through the Force and they kick ass together, being amazing.
Yeah.
In different locations. So it's like a response to Bob Iger very specifically.
Yeah, since his complaint was, well, it just doesn't make, I don't know how he could come back because he died.
Well, you didn't read the script probably. Right?
Yeah.
So it's all there. It all ties together. They can make anything happen through the Force. That is very, very clear with all of the stuff about Ahsoka and playing all of that in. Like it's all there. I have no concerns about that. And then this is where it goes off the rails for me. You just spent your time saying that the dyad is the most powerful thing in the galaxy. And so psychologically, we are primed to say they are going to kick ass together and they are going to heal the galaxy. And they made a final girl decision. They chose to make a final girl decision, and that he dies for her, in that she dies, right? She fights Palpatine, she kills him, and he dies.
She dies
and
first.
Then he chooses to bring her back to life with, this is his atonement moment. So many people are not mad at him anymore, but psychologically it's not satisfying, because when you have magic involved, you expect healing to be exponential from the point of healing. So he should have been able to bring her back from the dead and still lived. And then ideally, you would have a cascading healing moment by which everything was healed. Like, I'm talking like Alderaan is brought back.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Something like that. Like the power of the dyad has to be that powerful. And maybe they can no longer exist in the galaxy together anymore, but they are now part of the Force together. That would be an okay solution, or that they just have to go off and like live somewhere else because they're too powerful for the galaxy. Yeah. Together.
Yeah. There's all kinds of it's hard to
so when Reylos talk about how it doesn't feel right any longer, it's because it's like you set up all this stuff to say this is literally her soulmate or the other half of her soul symbolically. And they've done that since the first movie. They did it from the first movie symbolically. And you're saying, she's just going to be fine after. Yeah,
she's alone now. And that aloneness doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
For the way the story was set up. That's a deeply traumatic, awful thing. And there's first his voice gets taken away, then he vanishes, right? And then the Skywalker twins show up as ghosts, but he doesn't show up as a ghost. So it's like, well, where is he? And
he is fundamentally a lost husband now. That is what has happened. So when you wrote, he's dead, I'm like, no, he's not. I was like, even if I had picked this up before the hunt for Ben Solo, I would have gotten on the internet and pinged you and said, my sir, you're actually wrong about the symbolism. He has gone into the underworld and she needs to go and get him, obviously.
Yeah. The story's not over.
And he dies 6 times in The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, right.
His thing crashes. There's all this death symbolism around him. He fell off a thing and he suddenly
it even happens to Chewbacca. It happens all over the place in that movie.
Yeah. And so
really annoying.
The death symbolism keeps on coming up for him. So he is a dying god. He functions like that. So he will come back when the story wants him to come back.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's, and the REYLOs have produced a lot of fan fiction themselves, right?
Yeah.
About him coming back. Have they not?
Yes. And some of that is already published work as fantasy, the Hurricane Wars. It is a New York Times bestseller. That's out there. We have, instead of, it's a modern version of this story. So instead of him dying, it's just a symbolic death. He's gone away. Okay. Right. So they do other ways to do the story, but now the story has been retold so many times because it jumped the fence mythologically. It is now not controllable by the source owners of the mythology. So I'm sorry, by putting it out there, you gave people the license to do what they want with it.
Yeah. Yeah. And they're going to, and they have.
And so endlessly, by not fixing the story, all of that energy went into their own creative healing, take, as Carrie Fisher used to take your broken heart and make it into art. They have made the alchemical union and the apotheosis happen on their own.
Yeah. So do they build on from Tross, or do they disregard Tross and build from TLJ, or both?
So there's a lot of fix out there. I've written my own. Hey, awesome. What would happen after? Because I don't think he's dead. I wrote it January 2020 or
2020.
Something. Yeah. But there's a lot of those out there, and then people just took what the archetypes were and then made them their own. The love hypothesis specifically names Ben's character Adam.
Oh wow.
Right?
Yeah, okay.
So it's and she thanked the REYLOs,
that's so fascinating.
all of that, right? So it's all there. It is making its own money. So I understand business, and I know that currently it is to Oscar Isaac's point earlier on this week. He would like to come back to Star Wars or to Marvel, but Disney has a fascism problem.
Gotta get rid of that.
Can you please fix your stuff so that the thing about the mythology is that it will make you money if you plug into it correctly.
Yeah. Well, I think that just the outburst of energy over Hunt for Ben Solo has been so instantaneous, just like an explosion of excitement.
Because that's apotheosis. The idea that he is still alive is the outburst of energy, is the interconnectedness, is, hey, we weren't alone in this. Adam was in on this. They were working on it. Lucasfilm wanted to make this. You're no longer alone. You're not alone. Neither are you. That moment in the Smut Hut.
Yeah. Right.
Interconnection, community, the fact that we're having general audience fans or even people who are like wearing like X-Wing fighter costumes going up to Charles Soule and asking him about the hunt for Ben Solo in the hopes that he might have any nugget of information or just excited about it. And everyone's like, yeah, let's do this.
Yeah.
You got to be insane to not.
Yeah. Well, and another thing that's great about it is that from what's been reported, they spent years working on the project. Yeah. And so there was a level of care and
no one found out
and
anything.
Yeah, but it wasn't rushed. You know, it was a thing that they wanted to put together and get right before they properly pitched it, you know, and that is really exciting because Tross feels just like a runaway train. It's rushed. The storytelling isn't, but the pace is just like, whoa.
Like reportedly, and this is, again, rumor, who knows how much, but Kathleen said, I'd like to push this back. And Bob Iger said no.
Yeah, shareholders, you know.
No, I think he was also retiring in March.
Oh, yeah.
And knew that and probably wanted it out before he retired.
Yeah. I don't know. I know.
Not to conspiracy theory, but I mean, we do know Kathleen asked for more time.
That she asked for an extension,
she asked
which she should have had.
Extension on TFA, and she asked for an extension on TLJ, or TLJ, The Rise of Skywalker. TLJ came in quicker and under budget than they thought, so give Ryan more movies, please.
Yeah, right. Yeah, totally.
They had enough time to do a full marketing campaign, which they didn't for The Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah. I love TLJ. I admire Rian Johnson so much because of that film. You know, his other movies are great too, but that one especially, something really, really magical, astounding happened. Yeah, he got it. You know, he understood it, and he did something new also, which was needed. So, just that. Give him more.
Give him more Star Wars. He gets
please.
it.
Yeah, he's on it.
Yeah.
Please give him more. But yeah, Hunt for Ben Solo. Please give us that. Steven Soderbergh, Adam Driver, whoever else. I mean, they're picking great people. Let's see it happen.
Yeah.
No?
Exactly. So in this, let's talk about future symbolism.
Yeah.
The hunt for the lost husband is fundamentally a quest to heal the wounded masculine, because he is abandoned and lost and needs to be returned oftentimes in this, like in the Bull of Norway, not Norway. The lost husband is actually transformed and under the spell of a witch.
Love it.
There's so many cool things that you can do with lost husband stories. You know, of course, the archetypical one is Beauty and the Beast, which ties a lot to the symbolism that we get in the sequel trilogy with Rey and Kylo. So more specifically, Psyche and Cupid. There's a lot of that symbolism in there. And at one point, Cupid goes away. Right? He is hidden and is wounded.
He's like, ow, you hurt me with the oil.
Yeah. Ow. And then, you know, Psyche
he goes to his mom's house.
Goes to his mom's house and hangs out until Psyche actually needs him.
He's like, ow, I'm at my mom's.
And Venus is like, I'm going to torture you until you figure out
like,
stuff.
You little brat.
Yeah, to Psyche. Yeah.
She's like, here's these tasks. Do my shopping list. Go do this for me.
I need my beauty cream.
Right.
I need my...
It can only be found in the underworld.
Get that from Persephone. Persephone's like, I'm not giving her my beauty cream. Here's some sleep.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
But these things have archetypical things. And so like when I heard about the Rey movie, I was like, I'm not worried. Like it'll be fine. Like as long as they want to bring him back, he will be back. And this will be just part of her journey. And honestly, one of the coolest things we could do is have her have a dream of him at the start of the movie and then have her do her own thing where she's like doing stuff in the background, and then little nuggets through the movie would have gained so much stuff. Like so much cool joy totally. And people like searching for the mysteries and like the legacy of Vader and like all of these things. So I do think that was maybe the original plan, but now things are like weird and we don't know what's happening.
Yeah. We're in that realm of speculation that Star Wars occasionally drifts into.
Yeah.
Post trilogy speculation, which is quite exciting.
And it actually does drive a lot of engagement and a lot of keeping the conversation present. So thank you. Talking about this is part of that, right? Why it's important.
It's part of it. Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's one of the most important features of engagement with a living mythology. Yeah, totally.
Talking about it, it's like having your salons, having your podcasts, having your discussions online, having your metas on Tumblr. That is actually like fundamentally important why we want to rejuvenate this. But I'm going to tell you, Reylos have done this for years, for 10 years.
We've been around for a decade.
Yeah, guys, we're here. So what's so interesting is we're getting people who are mainstream journalists who are now like digging through Reylo metas and being like, oh, this could totally happen. Or like, like that it's bubbling to the surface. And, that's why things like the Reylo history is actually really important, because this is a feminine primarily led movement.
Yes. Which is exciting for lots of reasons, but
dragging our wounded masculine back from the dead.
Yeah. Well, and it happened to his dad.
Yeah. I mean, I point that out all the time. I'm going to do an episode probably in the new year with Missy on lost husband stories in Star Wars, because they've happened a lot, actually, including Han and Leia.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, Han's Sleeping Beauty, and he comes out better for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about with this?
Oh gosh, just that I'm excited about it.
Yeah.
And that it's really fun and feels great to be excited about
Star Wars,
about wondering about Star Wars and where it's going. It's that after each trilogy, there's always this sort of, well, what's going to happen next? And, and what if they break the form? What if it doesn't have to be another trilogy? I mean, who says it has to be a trilogy? What if we get episode 10, Hunt for Ben Solo? I mean, there are no rules. I mean, people talk about the 3-act structure all the time. It's like so many plays throughout history, 5 acts in a play, this, that, and the other. It's like the sort of cookie cutter.
Or just sticking to the Skywalker timeline in general. Like I've wanted them to go back and do the Jedi Mandalorian War, because I think that would have been, or even the split between the Jedi and the Sith, because I think that would be sexy as hell, man.
Yeah. That'd be so interesting. Yeah, like, totally.
There's so many cool things you could do from that, right? That's what I was always hoping with the Mangold movie would be. The Jedi Mandalorian War is being set up in Clone Wars and in Rebels and in all of the Dave Filoni stuff. Like they're definitely pointing to it historically by bringing out like the concept existing in the like canon out there that they keep on calling back to it. So that'd be cool. Sure. I also am cool with if they resolve Ben Solo time jumping to 1,000 years in the future.
Yeah. What the heck?
Yeah.
Why not? I mean, Star Wars has done things like that before.
Like make those people legends.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a playground that is wide open. We've seen that different characters and new characters can hold a lot of excitement for audiences, general audiences, and everything. There are so many possibilities right there, and it seems like Lucasfilm it is trusting of the artists and the creatives, and let's just hope that Disney will fund them and let them do that. Just write some checks.
Yeah,
like just please.
It's
please, because they got good people working there. They got really good people working there.
Lightsabers, like
yeah,
right, like
yeah, totally.
People like space wizards. People like
space wizards and laser Nazis and all kinds of stuff. Just like wipe them out. Keep wiping them out. It's just until they heal at the end. Finally, yeah.
Like, where's the star piece?
Where's the star piece? Exactly.
I actually thought that originally that they would end the story, like the timeline, with the Rise of Skywalker. But it's interesting that they ended up basically choosing endless war and endless cycles.
Endless cycles of war. And totally. And there's like a reluctance to go there to
star piece it.
To star piece it. Yeah. I thought that was interesting. And I'm sort of glad my book came out when it has, because we are at this inflection point.
Yeah.
And I pray that in the future there's stuff in my book that's all like, oh, well, after this book was written, they did this and this and this. And so that actually, it's a little snapshot of where
and then you can do a revised
stand.
Version.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And be like, oh, his second edition.
Second edition. Jung and Star Wars. That's like sort of one thing that I'm struggling with my own book is like, how do you take the snapshot of the galaxy? So you have to kind of think about things as motifs of 3, at least, to talk about them. Like, how often have they come up? It is a motif if it is incidental, and it is a theme. It is a major theme if it's happened 3 times in a major way. And so I kind of think about those things as I'm writing my own stuff. To talk about like why these things impact us, why they show up. Why do mines show up so much in Star Wars?
Yeah,
mining shows up.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
all the time.
Why do journeys into caves happen so often? It's like the symbolism is really, really starting to become, you could like create a dictionary of the symbolism in Star Wars. I'm starting it, but it's
do it.
Yeah.
Do it. That's great. That's awesome. I would love that text.
Yeah, because it's becoming pretty standard that there are certain things that they do regularly to show certain things that happen.
Totally. Yeah, I would love to have that book on my shelf. I'd be referring to it all the time.
Yeah. Like, what are the instances of this happening in Star Wars? And this is how often it's happened. Mines are crazy. There's like, I think it's 100 instances or more of mines in Star Wars.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's a whole, there it is.
If the Empire is there, there's inevitably a mine as well. So it's tying to imperialism and this idea of like taking from the natural environment.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, more of that.
So what are you working on next after this? Because you've got some stuff upcoming.
I got some stuff upcoming. First, I want to invite everybody to come to the online Zoom book launch of Jung and Star Wars.
Yes.
Which that's going to be
in the line.
Please do.
Yeah.
Yes, please do. And it's on my website, www.sgellerhoff.com. Right on the front page, if you click it, the invite is there. And it's a free book launch on Zoom hosted by Jung Academy, which is headed by some Canadian Jungians. Gary Bobroff is a Canadian Jungian, and he's wonderful. He's been really great with letting me teach a course, and I'm going to teach another course, I think, starting in February. But there's a January 18th Sunday free Zoom book launch. I want everybody there. Please come, and it's free. You can register right there, and they'll send you the link to log on, and we're just going to have fun launching the book.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And we should celebrate it because it's like a solidly good thing to read and understand more about Star Wars from this lens and what I've talked about my entire podcast. But in addition, it gives you like the link back. And REYLO's, we love the library. We love to have receipts, and it's all there.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. I mean, coming from you, that means a lot. And yeah, I'm so glad. And I'm so glad I get to talk with you now.
Well thought through. It does everything that I needed it to do. So thank you so much for writing it.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, man, Steve, this is fun. Thank you for joining me.
Marie-Claire, thank you you are a gracious host and a wonderful host. And thank you for having me on. And yeah, I hope to see you at the Zoom. But I hope to chat again, because this has been like, I'm like energized now. You know, you've refilled my batteries. So thank you.
Thank you. You did the same for me, because hearing that we're not alone and that there's other people that have been thinking about this. You've been thinking about this for 10 years. Like, you know, that's
just like you.
Just like me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that is fulfilling, and knowing that this is actually a large community and that you're not weird for loving it.
Yeah.
Is important.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, may the force be with Jung.
Oh, yeah. I mean, may the force be with you. Where can people find you if they're looking for all of your stuff?
So I've got my website, which is just sgellerhoff.com. And then I'm on Blue Sky, SG Ellerhoff, and I think like Instagram. I think I changed my social media names to SG Ellerhoff at some point there. So
more authory.
Yeah, be more authory. And please, if you have any questions, talk to me.
Yeah, I
love hearing from people.
One of my friends, his name is Lava Castle, asked you about masks.
Oh yeah,
that was really cool.
Yeah, Lava Castle. Yeah, Lava Castle's brilliant. Yeah, Lava Castle's like on it.
Once you put your name out there, the REYLOs are going to come and be like asking you questions about things.
That's all. Well, and I've got questions for them too, because they're steeped in this aspect that I want to learn about. And to me, that's exciting.
This has been an episode. Thank you again, Steve, for joining us. And take care, everyone. Cheers. Thank you for listening to What the Force. I'm Marie-Claire Gould, your host. Our orchestral music is by Christy Carew for What the Force. You can support the show directly on Patreon at patreon.com/whattheforce. We would like to thank all our patrons, especially those who love and are obsessed with What the Force: Christian R., Adrian, Sarah Joy, Scott, John, In Wild Space, Minky Moo, Derek C., How Rude, Christian Luca, Carly Ann, and Scott C. Support the show by wearing the Force with our merch. Like and subscribe on YouTube, or leave a 5-star review on iTunes or other pod apps. It helps people find the show. You can connect with us on Blue Sky at WT Force, What the Force Podcast on Facebook, or on our website at whattheforce.ca, or our Discord. Links are in the liner notes. Feel free to reach out and start a conversation. Cheers.